Last week, I finished a product launch that resulted in 45 sales, $27,000 in revenue, and 12 lessons. Now, I originally started this in March with my friend Daniel Bustamante. It's called Inbound Sales Ninja, hence ISN. And we did a beta cohort in April. We had 30 spots that we opened. We required applications, and we sold out 30 for 30 spots in a 48-hour window. And after having a successful cohort, we decided to do another one in June. And so that is what we just finished. And um, for the beta cohort, we ended up putting a lot of time into it. We had to build the curriculum from scratch, and we generated 14.5K in revenue, which isn't insubstantial, but we also put a lot of time into it. And because I run an agency and Daniel is also doing a lot of other stuff, it wasn't really worth the time. But the nice thing about building a cohort is that once you build it, then you can continue to reap the dividends by running future cohorts because you've already built the curriculum, you've had repetitions, and you can just basically scale what you've already done. And so here's what happened. We raised the prices from 499 to 799, and we spent about two and a half weeks promoting it. We got 1,000 people on the wait list who basically raised their hand, said that they were interested in learning about it. Actually, just shy of 1,000. Our goal, our initial goal was 1,250, but the truth was we just didn't promote it long enough. If we would have had an extra week and a half, I think we could have got there. And then we also use some of our viral giveaways on LinkedIn to promote this. And we just didn't have any go very viral like we have in the past. And so we didn't get a huge number of signups from those. So these are the results. Let me walk you through it. We had a total of 45 sales. So you can see here it says 48, but three of those were tests. We brought in 27,000 and about 400 in revenue. Of the 45 buyers, 33 were one pay buyers and 12 were two pay buyers. We introduced two pay in the last 2 days, and that was an effective way of bringing more people in, but we didn't get as much of the cash up front there, which is just part of the game. We had two upsells. So the first was an order bump that was $99. We sold 15 of them. Oh, and by the way, here you can see here, this is the funnel traffic. We got 13% conversion. So of those who hit the checkout page, 13% converted, net revenue, gross revenue. The swipe file order bump was basically a swipe file of email subject lines, hooks, landing pages, and some AI prompts. And basically, if people wanted it for an extra $99, they could get it. And this brought in about $1,500, and about 37% of the people took it, which is pretty good. And then we also, after people clicked on that, they were sent to another page that said, "Thanks for your order. One more quick thing. Are you interested in?" And we pitched our viral giveaway mini course, which is a LinkedIn tactic that we've been using to great effect for the last 7 or 8 months. And nine people bought this, uh, contributing to $1,341 and a 28% conversion rate. So the total upsell revenue was just shy of $3,000, which made up about 10% of the total revenue. So those are the final results. Now let me just share something that you're not going to see here, which is we made a couple of big changes. So first is the price. So we went from 499 to 799. So that's kind of working against us a little bit. The next is we removed the application process. And you could imagine if you have an application, you're going to get a lot of applicants. And if you get accepted, you're more likely to buy because you feel like it's more exclusive. And then the last thing was we capped the beta cohort at 30 seats. And so if you're like, oh, there's only 10 left, you're going to want to go and book yours really fast. But we did no capping. So we had kind of three things working against us, which in hindsight, I think was probably a mistake. I think we could have maybe kept the price, but used one of the two, either applications or the limited number of seats to increase the urgency and demand essentially. But what we did to improve that, and I'll explain this in a little bit more detail, is we added an expiring bonus and an expiring discount. And that was to try and combat it, and it worked pretty well. As you can see, we about doubled our revenue from last time. We did about 14K. This time we did just shy of 28K, so about a double. I sent 16 emails across the 6 day period. 11 were to the whole list, five were to narrow segments. I had them all listed here, but high level, the first 2 days, so Monday and Tuesday, letting people know enrollment is open. Here's what you get if you join. On day three, we promoted a live masterclass and said, hey, tomorrow we're going to have this live masterclass. Click here to sign up. On Thursday, we basically sent the replay to everyone who attended the live masterclass or had signed up for it, and we sent them a special offer. On Friday, we pushed really hard because there was the $100 expiring discount for that night. Then on Saturday, I answered frequently asked questions, asked clickers, so people who clicked in on the sales page, and asked them if there's anything keeping them on the fence, and got several people respond, and they had their questions that I was able to help answer, and some of them joined. And then on Sunday, I shared a sneak peek of the cohort curriculum, and then sent one extra email letting people know that it expired in 12 hours. My partner Daniel also sent around the same. So cumulatively, we sent over 30 emails, which, in a 7 day period, that's a lot of emails. And I think people underestimate how many emails you can send and what it takes to have a successful launch. A live masterclass. So we decided to do this because our launch window was from Monday all the way through Sunday. And when that happens, usually Wednesday and Thursday are the slowest days. There's no real reason for people to buy. And so we thought, let's fill this with a live masterclass. And so we decided Tuesday night, and Wednesday we hustled. This is what we did. We each created a social post. So on our LinkedIn's, we started doing social selling. So basically DMing, like one-to-one interactions with people via email and DMs. And we sent emails. And by the way, those are the three things that we teach in Inbound Sales Ninja. So it was cool to like practice what we preach to get people on this live masterclass webinar or whatever you want to call it. And in just 24 hours, we got 400 plus registrants. We got 120 live at the peak. We had to we had to upgrade the Zoom because we only had 100 that were allowed. This is the post that I wrote. So you could see the hook says, I was used to selling 5K deals, but several months ago I landed a 100K client. Here's exactly how it happened. And at the bottom, I had a link. Social selling was like this. So people who had previously gotten this lead magnet called the foot in the door offer, I said, uh, since you requested this document, I thought I'd see if you were interested in this live masterclass that's on the same subject. And I had a bunch of people sign up that way. And then sent a bunch of emails, which I covered in the previous section. And we taught Trojan Horse offers. This went exceptionally well. We got 90% of people or so to give us a 10 out of 10 rating at the end. And then at the end, we also said that they could join Inbound Sales Ninja. And this is one of 8 sessions that we would have. And so they'd get 7 more, in addition to community, personalized support, and so on. Next was social selling. So this was my third launch ever. In addition to the beta cohort in this launch, I'd done just like a paid workshop. And so 120 people personally invited to the masterclass, 60 plus people personally invited to join Inbound Sales Ninja. So people who I'd hopped on sales calls with, but they didn't want full service LinkedIn management. They wanted to do it themselves, but just wanted some strategy. Those are the types of people I invited. And then responded to dozens of DMs and emails. And Daniel did something similar. So this actually played a pretty big role in the success of the launch. Here's what we did well. So the volume of emails, very happy with how much effort we put in there. Incorporating social content. So I did one post that linked to the live masterclass. And then I did also one post just breaking down how we were able to get, at the time, 300 registrants for a live masterclass in just 24 hours. And I really am a fan of these breakdowns, like here's what's happening live, and you share that on social versus on email. That's where you do most of the selling. Then using social selling throughout, very, very proud of how we did that. This is the things that don't scale. This definitely resulted in, I don't know how many sales, but a good portion of them. The order bump and upsell. So in our beta cohort, we had a $1,500 upsell, basically for more one-on-one access to me and Daniel, but it wasn't that appealing of an offer because they were already getting a lot of access to us via the cohort. And so nobody took us up on it. So this time we switched to two lower ticket options, which was the $99 swipe file and the $149 viral giveaway mini course. And they each brought in about 1,500 for a total of $3,000, which was a 10% increase in revenue, which is nothing crazy. But we already had a lot of the resources. And so it really was just a bunch of curation that needed to happen. And now we have these assets that we can continue to extract value from in the future. The live masterclass was great. Selling, $700, $800, $900 product is very difficult, and doing it live makes a ton of sense. And I think we did a great job. I also don't know how much this contributed to the total revenue, but I know it had an impact. Two expiring offers. So the first was a bonus session that we would, for those who purchased before Tuesday end of day. And I think we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 or 20 people who had purchased by then. The rest of the sales came throughout the week. And then we had a early bird discount, $100 off for those who purchased before Friday. Both of these definitely helped against those factors, like I said, of not having the limited seats or the applications. Tuesday and Friday were, I believe, our largest sales days. Maybe Sunday might have surpassed it. I don't have that data off the top of my head. Then we kind of pulled after the $100 discount expired, pulled the last rabbit out of the hat, which was basically you could pay in two different payments instead of upfront. And we actually weren't planning on doing that until we got several people who DM'd us asking us for that option. And so we made it an option. Then we had an onboarding experience. So those who joined got emails basically introducing ourselves, saying what tools they could use, that kind of thing. And so this was just a great addition. Now, here's what we could have done better because there were several things we could have done better. So the first was pushing the waitlist a little bit longer. So instead of 2.5 weeks, going for 3 or 4 weeks. And I think we could have hit our goal of 1,250 on the waitlist. Then this was very, very painful for me. I made one little error in my launch sequence automation, which was after duplicating my launch automation on Kit, I didn't duplicate the sequence. And so what happened was my previous sequence from the last launch and the sequence from this launch, they ended up like if I changed one, the other one would change. It was the same one because I didn't duplicate it. And so what happened was all of my new subscribers, they got the correct email, but all of my old subscribers that had received the previous launch automation sequence, they, instead of getting email one, they got like email five because they'd already gotten emails 1 through 4. They got email five, and email five was completely irrelevant to like, it said at the top, here's X number of applicants and X number, like literally the letter X number of seats, because I was planning on using the urgency and scarcity there. But like so a bunch of people were confused and they opted out of the launch sequence. So I totally messed this up, and I think I could have had another 5 or maybe 10 sales without this error. So big mistake on my end. And as part of that, to really make the problem worse, I had on Tuesday I sent out a few emails, and for whatever reason, I think it's because I sent them within a short time frame. I had like on the first email, this is when I basically said to all of the old subscribers, "Hey, sorry, I sent you guys the wrong email." So I said, "Oops, wrong email." That was the subject line. Something like 20% of those emails bounced. And then I did a RE, which is like a you just bump it and it's a reply to the previous email. And something like 60% of those bounced. And so that was really scary because if your emails start bouncing, it hurts your domain reputation. And I was worried that I was gonna lose my email list and I wasn't gonna be able to basically message them anymore because I was having some deliverability issues. But I talked a bit with Daniel. I talked with Kit, sent in some support tickets, was able to get it resolved, and by Wednesday I was back to normal. So this was a painful one, but I did learn my lesson, and for that I'm grateful. Then the applications and limited number of seats. So I think that we applications is a complete hassle. It does a lot for exclusivity, and also if you want to be really tight about the filter of people you let in, which we really did for the beta cohort. But we realized it takes a ton of time because you want to review the applicants as fast as possible and let them know that they're approved so that they can basically move forward with and make the purchase decision while they're still hot and warm. And so applications are effective, but a pain. And so instead of applications, I think the better option is just to limit the number of seats. So what's the number we think we could sell? Is it 50? Is it 60? Let's limit it there. And then all of our marketing emails can say there's only X number of seats left. Book yours, get yours before it sells out. That is a very, very effective marketing tactic when you can use real scarcity and real urgency. Going along with scarcity and urgency, we should have used scarcity and urgency for the people on the live masterclass. We had over 100 people live and had an exceptional, like everyone had a great experience. It was very educational and useful. And then we, we basically our offer was you can join by tomorrow at midnight for $100 off. I think it would have been way better to say for the first 10 people who joined from this live masterclass, you will also get X, Y, and Z. And I think we would have sold 10 seats live right there. And so, lesson learned there too. Final thoughts, final takeaways. Overall, there were a lot of painful things that happened during this launch. Several things went wrong. I had the launch automation, I had the deliverability issues. We didn't have a compelling offer for those who were on the live masterclass, which felt like a big missed opportunity. But looking on the bright side, we more than doubled. Oh, I guess that's not true. It was a little bit less. We just about doubled our revenue from the previous cohort while raising our prices from 499 to 799. And we got an extra 15 students that we did from the first one. We pushed very hard. We sent a lot of emails. We made social posts. We did social selling. And overall, really happy with the results and happier even with the effort. We now have a bunch of people who are turning their LinkedIn accounts into marketing channels for their business. And the product's really solid. We just finished the first week of the cohort, and so far it's going really well. And I don't know when and if we'll do another one because, like I said at the beginning, I am busy running an agency. But this is something that we should be able to reap the rewards from for a long time going forward. We've done the hard work, and now it's just continuing to market it. And so I this was a great experience. And if you are interested in running a cohort, reach out. Would love to chat with you and share what I learned and potentially how I could help you. And then also, I'll put this in the link to this in the description. But if you want also to see the lessons and takeaways from the beta cohort, so the previous one, then I have that I can share with you as well. Both links, this one and the beta cohort, in the description. And talk to you later.